Wednesday, December 4th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Meteorologist Matthew East here along with you. A foggy start to the day in many Piedmont locations. That was a look at Greensboro back around 5 o'clock this morning. Visibility only 1 mile. And you had many spots in the Piedmont with visibilities below a mile, even below a half mile or a quarter mile in some instances. Now, yesterday, had highs in the upper 50s to some lower 60s, and our current temperature is a good bit warmer than where we were in many spots at this point yesterday, especially I-40 corridor and points north. 40s and really a lot of 50s on the board here across the region this morning. Mountains are even much milder too. Some of the coolest of mountain temperatures right now only in the lower 40s, such as there in Banner Elk. On the radar, again, there's been some shower activity rolling through parts of the Carolinas through the night. Some of it producing a decent amount of rain down there, especially in South Carolina and southeastern North Carolina. And that's with a warm front that's lifting through the region. Now, here's our next cold front, causing some snow in parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Nebraska, back into the Rockies. And this is a pretty messy storm system. Look at the precipitation, snow and rain depending on elevation. They're close to Las Vegas, down in the northern parts of Arizona. And again, this is going to be a messy storm system. Look at all this snow deep down into parts of Arizona and New Mexico, and then moving eastward. This will be a very significant ice storm for parts of the southern plains and the Mississippi Valley. Cities like Dallas, Little Rock, and Memphis could have a real problem with ice here as this system moves eastward. In fact, check out what the RPM model is putting out for ice accumulations. That's pretty nasty. That might be overdone, but you definitely can get the idea. There's going to be some big icing in a pretty narrow corridor, but some significant icing within that corridor running from roughly Dallas to Memphis. Now, again, warm front clearing through our region today, and we're going to be looking at a lot of clouds still, maybe a brief shower or two. And then another night tonight with some clouds and drizzle and fog will be pretty prevalent. But the warm air continuing to move on in. A lot of us up close to 70 or so tomorrow, and then I think we're well on up into the 70s just ahead of that front on Friday. There's Friday afternoon's numbers on some of the modeling, and then notice temperatures Saturday begin to head the wrong way. A lot of us with some falling temperatures in the state of North Carolina Saturday, and then we are in the midst of a cold air damming setup by Sunday. So, again, some rain showers are going to be with us more often than not, I think, Saturday and Sunday. And a pretty pronounced cold air damming setup for us Sunday. Not a lot of change to my thinking there. Let me show you some of the more detailed modeling. This is what it looks like on the European model for Saturday afternoon. Cold front moving through. There's your big 1048 millibar high over eastern Montana Saturday, and then you get out to Sunday, and that is a weakening high, but still pretty decent at 1036 millibars over the northeast, and that is indeed in a very favorable position for cold air damming down the east side of the mountains. And the modeling is unanimous in showing that cold air damming scenario, but the high retreats pretty quickly off to the north. There's nothing to anchor that high in place. So what you end up with is something like this. Let me see. This is, yeah, there is the European surface temperature Sunday evening. The thick white line, that's your freezing line up into the Virginias, and the temperatures in the 30s across most of western and central North Carolina in the favorite cold air damming areas. There's the GFS solution with the wedge. Now, the coldest model is the Canadian, and it very well defined cold air damming signature on the surface chart, and then you look at the surface temperatures, and that freezing line's down to places like Statesville, just north of Charlotte, over toward Gastonia or Shelby, and of course all the foothills included in that sub-freezing air on the Canadian model. And I didn't put the chart on there, but as you might expect, you do have some freezing rain occurring in the precipitation type charts there on the Canadian. The Canadian, by far the coldest model. The European and the GFS are not quite as cold. Now, I'll say this. We'll see how cold the air actually is once it continues to get sampled now as it pushes deeper into North America. And we might see some adjustment on the modeling there. Also, cold air damming almost always underdone a bit on the modeling, so it wouldn't be surprised if something more similar to the Canadian were to at least temporarily verify. The Canadian a lot of times really does a good job with these cold air damming events here in the state of North Carolina at least. So that's kind of what we're watching. I have not changed my thinking much in terms of potential with that. I think the northern foothills have the best chance of seeing a period of freezing rain. with this Sunday. The significant icing concerns are definitely there up into the Virginias, and again, we'll see how far and how cold how far south rather, and how cold that wedge is as we get into Sunday in terms of the North Carolina foothills and maybe some of the northwest Piedmont. We'll see. All right, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, and God bless.